Hi, Joanna.
Hi, Cedrick.
All right, so we are live. We're going to be going in 15 seconds. We're going to be going live on the radio. So thank you guys for tuning in and get ready for a great show today. We're going to be talking about creating positive change. So I'm excited. So here we go. Go.
All right. Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to our world. You're listening to IBGR Network, now known as International Business Growth Radio Network. Welcome to Talk Leadership with Cedrick and a Cuppa Joe. You are now, you know that everybody needs a little TLC and some high energy too. I am Joanna Rincon, your co-host, here in studio with my friend and host, Mr. Cedrick LaFleur. Welcome, Cedrick.
Well, hello there, Joanna. You like you were afraid to say talk leadership with Cedrick and a cup of Joe on the radio because everybody needs a little TLC with high energy.
Cedrick, you know what? I am super excited today. Okay. And maybe that's why I didn't say that very well. I am super excited because in today's show, we're going to be talking about creating positive change. And so I think we all can benefit from some positive change in our lives, correct? But before we dive in, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go into our website, ibgr.network, and download the show notes. We have put together some great notes. So go ahead and download them now, ibgr.network. And then also go to the App Store with Apple, of course, and then to the Play Store with if you have an Android, and download our app. You will find that you will have access to our radio show on the palm of your hand. And it's going to be so convenient. So go ahead and do that before you start enjoying our show today. So let's talk a little bit about Coach Lou Holt. See, I'm calling him a U-turn leader. See, he coached 6 different college football programs. And with all 6, when he took them over, they were on decline. And so within 2 years, he had each one of them competing in some college bowl. Now, let me demonstrate with you what the U-turn looks like, right? It's just something like that, like a U. You're up here, then you're going down, and then boom, that leader comes and brings the team right up. That's the U-turn. Now, in order to do that, what's that, Cedrick?
Okay, I'm glad you got that.
Now, in order for you to do that, you must create positive change. You see, everything bad in your life will never be fixed until you change. Let me say that again. Everything bad in your life will never be fixed until you change. And everything bad in your organization will never be fixed until you change everything. You see, if you turn it around, it's because you produce some positive change in the organization. And that's what we're going to talk about today, creating positive change, Cedrick.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm excited about the show today. And, last week I started and said that going forward every week when we first start the show, I'm going to highlight another talent on IBGR. So today, last week I highlighted Artie Moore. This week I'm going to highlight Miss Angela Hooper Minifield. So I tuned in and listened to Angela's show, and Angela is a business partner of mine, and she's also the host of the People Side of Business. We talk about the other side of business. She talks about the people side of business. So today on her show, she was talking about interviewing skills versus personality. And I want to highlight that because you see, folks, on IBGR, we're not just coming and giving you the same show every hour. It's a little bit different every hour. You're getting something a little bit different about your business. So today she was talking about interviewing for skills versus personality. And she discussed some of the different types of interviews. When I was incorporated and I was doing interviews, I was just doing interviews. And she talked about doing behavioral interviews, where you're asking questions that that speak to different types of behavior. Situational interviews, she talked about doing skilled interviews. And so my point is this: if you want to learn a lot about impacting your business, let's tune in to IBGR, the different shows that we have. If you want to learn like today, go back and listen to Angela's show and get her show notes where she talks about these interviewing skills. And if you want to hire good people, you got to know how to interview those people. And everybody is going to bring different talents and different skill sets. And she talked about that on her show today. So I wanted to make sure that I highlight someone else today, and Angela Hooper Minifield with the People Side of Business. Go check it out. And I tell you, you're going to learn a lot. So today we're talking about creating positive change, Joanna, and I'm excited about this topic. We want to start off with 4 questions that people need to ask. And what's going to happen is you're going to ask someone these questions for you, and you're going to ask them to rate you on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being lowest, 5 being highest. Hopefully you're getting 5s, but if you're not, Joanna, you got to rate me 5, okay? We're going to have a problem. All right. So, no, you can't do that, folks. You got to say, rate me where you think I am. All right. So the first question you're going to ask someone about you is, am I who I say I am? Now that's a tough question, Joanna, right?
Oh, yeah.
That could be a tough question for someone. Am I who I say I am? Don't you answer that, Joanna, right now.
I was getting ready to answer it.
The second question is, do I do what I say I will do? Now, I'm going to rate myself on that. I'm a 5 on that. Right? Do I do what I say I'm going to do? You got to ask someone to rate you on that question. I would tell you, ask your leadership team to rate you first. Right? Then tell your leadership team to have their people rate them. Okay, on that question. The third question is, would you be the same at work if your child came to work with you every day?
I like that.
Yeah. Everybody gonna act a little bit different. Sometimes you act a little funny when you're not around your kids, right? But you're gonna change that attitude around your kids. All right. Number 4, would you treat the people at home the same way if someone from work came to dinner one night? Would you treat them? Are you going to treat them mean at work, and then they come to your dinner at your house and you're all nice and kind and pleasant to them? So you want to find out, right? See, these questions are about character, how you see yourself, and how do others see you. That's important. Let's get going with this positive change, Joanna.
I love it. See, creating positive change, the ultimate change of a leader. All right. So how do you turn an organization around? And how do you change the negative behavior into positive behavior? See, those are the questions that we're going to be navigating into right now. You see, turning an organization around is truly the biggest test of a leader. And almost anyone can lead a team that is doing good and heading in the right direction and being encouraged and wanting to keep going. That's really easy, Cedrick, right?
Right.
But you see, when it comes to creating significant changes, it is super hard for anyone to turn a team around. And so I want our audience, I want them to think about this because, I want them to think about that for a moment, Cedrick, because I think that right there, that's the difference between being a true leader as opposed to being just a manager. You see, when you say yes to that challenge to turn that team around.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm always ready to say, yes, let's turn that team around. Let's make great things happen. Yes, let's do something different, better, and all that good stuff. So, let me talk about these four reasons why people don't want the pain of gaining something new. In other words, they love being stuck in the mud. They love being stuck right where they are. They don't want to change. You see, now I like this quote. People don't resist change. They just resist being changed. Get that? They don't resist change, but they don't want to be changed. So they resist that part of it. So let's look at why these 4 reasons why people don't want the pain of gaining something new. First of all, people feel awkward and self-conscious doing something new, right? Joanna, have you ever done something new?
Of course, many times.
Yeah. So the first time you do it, sometimes it feels awkward, right?
Yeah, super awkward.
Yeah, it feels different. It feels weird. And you're like, I don't know if I want to do that, right?
Right. It's uncomfortable.
Right? It is uncomfortable. The more you do it, boom, all of a sudden you become comfortable with it. You become good at it, right? So here we go. When creating positive change, you are making people feel something they've never felt before. Now, I know you know that, right? But that's okay. So for the audience that if you're not driving, you can do this exercise, okay? If you're driving, keep your hand on the wheel, because I canceled my liability insurance, and I don't want you to. I don't want that liability. Okay, so if you are driving, keep your hands on the wheel. But if you're not, you're sitting still. I want you to do this exercise with me. And for folks that are on Facebook and YouTube right now, you can do this exercise. What I want you to do is clasp your hands together. Joanna, I want you to do it too. Clasp your hands together, okay? Now, I bet you've done this 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times. I bet it's very easy for you to do, right? It's no problem at all, right? Now what I want you to do is I want you to move your fingers over one position, okay? It's one position. Now, that feels awkward, right? Mm-hmm. It feels weird, right? That's because it's new, it's different, and you haven't done that before. So you feel uncomfortable when you do it that way. But the first way you did it, you feel very comfortable, right? Now let's try. Let me see if we have time here. Yeah, we have time before we go to commercial. Let's try this. I want you to fold your arms like you normally fold your arms. All right. Now what I want you to do is I want you to fold your arms the opposite way. Can you do that? Huh?
Yeah, I can, but
it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It feels weird, right? Yeah.
Like brushing your teeth with the left-hand side,
Exactly. That's that awkward feeling. So I'm going to come back from break and I'm going to finish that thought, but that's that awkward feeling. You're listening to IBGR Network, and IBGR is where we do great things. We help business leaders and entrepreneurs better understand how to take their business to another level. So go and download the show notes at IBGR Network. And we'll be right back on the other side of this break. Awesome. So, folks, if you're listening to us on Facebook and on YouTube, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. We're excited about being here with you today. If you have any comments, suggestions, ideas, definitely throw them in the comment section and we'll pop them up on the screen. And I see Donna is tuning in and she says, hello, Joanna. She doesn't see me here. She says, hello, Joanna. Okay, all right, I got
Hi,
it.
Donna, thank you.
That's all right. That's okay. I got it. I understand. I'm not offended.
Donna's my friend, not your friend.
I can see that. Obviously, it does say talk leadership with Cedrick.
All right, and a cup of Joe. So I guess the first 2 letters of my name are more powerful than your whole name, Cedrick.
I guess that's what it is. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, I see how that is. It's a girl thing. I got it. I see. All right. Now all of a sudden we got a woman vice president. Now it's all girl power.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. This we did. Remember, we got a man as the president. Uh-oh.
I see Deneen is also tuning in.
I see Deneen tuned in as well. Thank you very much for tuning in. So, guys, we are on commercial break, and we're just being a little silly here until we get back from break on the commercial. And when we're talking about creating positive change in organizations, and we want to help you understand how to better create positive change in organizations. So stay tuned in. Feel free to shoot us some comments and let us know if there's something you want to hear, something that you want us to talk about. If you have a question about something that we say or said, all right, and feel free to challenge us. And we're excited that you're tuned in today. So, Joanna, what's for dinner?
What's the dinner?
What's for dinner?
Well, don't put me on the spot.
But you don't know what
I don't know what I'm doing yet for dinner.
Oh my God!
Actually, my mom usually helps me make dinner, so I haven't had that conversation with her yet.
Oh, okay, all right. So no.
Yeah. But thank you for asking. You wanted to come join us? Is that why?
I was going to get in my jet and fly over to the ATL and join you guys for dinner.
Why not?
Yeah, I have my jet always gassed up and ready to go. So we're on commercial break. We'll be right back in like 15 seconds. We'll be back live on the radio and we'll get started again.
Awesome.
All right, so here we go. All right, so we're back and you're listening to IBGR Network, and IBGR is our call sign as a radio station. But folks, we are more than a radio station. We are a network, and we're here to help engage you, entertain you, and help you grow entrepreneurs, take your business to a whole another level. You're listening to Talk Leadership with Cedrick and a Cuppa Joe on the radio, and I am your co-host, Cedrick LaFleur, with my beautiful Miss
Joanna Rincon.
Joanna Rincon. She's always never ready, and I do that every week. Okay. So
don't say that I'm never ready. Come on.
So we were talking about how you feel awkward before we left, and we had you clasp your hands and also fold your arms a different way, and it feels awkward when you first do it, but you know how to do it the other way, right? All you have to do is just tell yourself, this is going to feel awkward the first time I do it, but I can do it anyway. And that's the exact same thing you can do in your business. So let's keep going, Joanna.
Absolutely. So you started talking about 4 reasons why people do not want the pain of gaining something new. So the first one was, people feel awkward and self-conscious doing something new. Number 2 is people initially focus on what they will have to give up, Cedrick. And see, when you ask people to change, they're not going to think about what they will receive new, different, and fresh. What they will do is they will think about what they're going to have to give up. And see, you have to give up something in order for you to go up. And Ralph Waldo Emerson says it. He says, for everything you gain, you will have to give up something. And I love that quote. And I think it's right on with what we're talking about. See, and it is unrealistic to expect something new without giving something old up. So people, when this happens, people always ask, how is this going to affect me? That's the first question. Mm-hmm. How is this going to affect me? And what would I have to do in this process? And here's the thing, transformation, it's important in any business. However, it's not just the leader's responsibility, right?
Right.
And I remember, Cedrick, in one of our calls from the John Maxwell team, right? John Maxwell was talking about, about the transformation that we're leading in the different countries like Paraguay, Guatemala, Costa Rica. And, he also mentioned something that relates to this specific topic here, this area. He says that the Saudi Arabia government called him to talk about transformation and, to him and his team. And they wanted to change several things by the year 2030. They wanted to, for example, give women the right to drive, give women more equal roles. And the Saudi crown prince said, he said this, that he can lead the transformation movement. However, he feels that if he doesn't have the leaders around him to implement it, it will not work. And that is the same for any organization. You see, you must build the leaders. You must build a foundation of leadership. And here's what happens with that. We want the benefit of change without the pain of the change itself. That's the mentality. People want the benefit of the change without the pain of changing. Right. And so, we're more comfortable with old problems than we are with new solutions.
Yes, people are definitely more comfortable with old problems than new solutions. The third thing is people are afraid of being ridiculed, right? So how many times have you tried something new, but you were not sure how to explain to someone else how to do it? right? Have you ever done like a conference, or you learned something, some new skill, or you saw some of your colleagues happy about it, but you weren't excited about it? Right? People who do something new run the risk of being ridiculed, and that's really scary and it's uncomfortable for them sometimes, right? But as a leader, you have to take this type of fear into account and know that some of your people are going to have that fear. Now, Joe, have you ever read the book Who Moved My Cheese?
I have, yeah, when I was younger in
Okay.
Spanish. I
All
did
right.
I read it in Spanish. Yeah.
Well, it's a great book, and I like
Mhm.
this section from the summary of the book. It says, "Don't get settled on old routines or ways of doing things. It's rooted in the human's deep psychology, and if you look at most old people, they're wired in their old ways." Right, baby, I can't change. Honey, God, I've been doing this for so long. I can't change to this. What you talking about, this pewter? I don't know. See, that's what they. That's what happens, right? Right. So, don't let fear. Don't laugh at my accent. Don't let fear paralyze you. In Who Moved My Cheese, him discovered that what he imagined would happen was always much worse than what actually happened, right? See, fear can paralyze you from moving forward. Don't let it bind you up because you're afraid of being ridiculed. Him almost let it bind him up, but he decided to push forward. See, if you keep doing what you've always done, you can't expect different results. And I like the way John Maxwell says, leadership is disappointing people at a rate that they can stand.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yes. And well, the next reason, Cedric, the number 4 is people personalize change and might feel alone in the process. You see, Villanova just won the NCAA championship. However, one of the top players said the next day, "Coach, it's going to," he said to the rest of the team, "the coach is going to let us celebrate this, but this summer he will make us climb down the mountain and look for a new mountain to climb." See, and I remember John Maxwell sharing to us in another call when he won the President's Club Award. That was an awesome and great thing to, that they won this award. However, he told his team, this is great, but now we have a new and higher goals to reach. And some of them, they got it, but some of them, they thought that he was crazy because the goal, it was going up. He was challenging them and even more. And here's the point, influence is earned on difficult ground. And that's when you have an opportunity to show up as a leader and earn that respect for your team. And so I love that point, Cedric, because I think that's what a lot of leaders miss. They miss the opportunity to gain that respect.
Yes, absolutely. So, this is a point in the show where we're going to pivot a little bit, and actually, even the second half of the show, we're going to take you through this exercise called Plan Ahead. Now, I want to start off with the law of navigation, Joanna. And the law of navigation, and I know you know this, but I'm just going to tell you anyway, right? The law of navigation says anyone can steer a ship, but it takes a leader to chart the course. The leader can see farther, they can see more, and they can see before everybody else. That's just what leaders are. That's just who leaders are. Now, in this plan ahead strategy, what we're going to do is we're going to walk you through PLANAHEAD. We're going to walk you through what each one of those letters represents in this plan ahead strategy. The P is for predetermine the change that is needed, meaning have a plan. Okay. Good is the enemy of best. But best is the enemy of better. See, let me say that again because I need you to write this down. I need you to understand. I need you to get it. Good is the enemy of best, and best is the enemy of better. In other words, don't settle for good when greatness is available. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah. See, great leaders are not just making change for the sake of making change. They make change as a part of a predetermined plan. Change something that matters. Don't just change things just for the heck of it. All right. Change things that matter. Now, the question you have to ask yourself is, how does a leader who doesn't ask questions have a clue? That's a tough question. If you don't have a clue, it's going to be very difficult for you. Oh man, I just always rhyme when I say things like that. Right? So to answer the questions you ask will be the strategy to change. To answer the question that you ask will be the strategy to the change that you implement. Right? I remember Arthur Blank, who's the owner of the Atlanta Falcons. When he purchased the Falcons, he asked the fans, why were they not coming to the game? Here's what they said: the team stinks, the food is too high, the tickets are too high, and all kind of stuff like that, right? They don't have a good time in the stadium. So what did he do? He made purposeful, intentional change. It wasn't just changing for the sake of it. So they dropped the prices so they can get people in the stands. Then they improved the team so they could start winning. Only problem is they get up 28-3 in the Super Bowl and then they lose. So, they still have problems. All right. But they did make a lot of change. So see, if you've done something for 1 year, look at it carefully. If you've done something for 2 years, look at it with suspicion. If you've done something for 5 years, stop looking at it and do something to change it. Right? Don't just keep looking at it. See, if you're operating a business, you got to work like someone's trying to put you out of business, because guess what, Joanna? Someone eventually will put you out of business.
That's right.
Right. And that's the key thing right there. And that's important. We're going to be going to a break in just a little bit, folks. But I'm going to reiterate that point that I said, because I want you to get this. If you operate in a business, if you're a business owner, you're operating a business. If you're a leader in a business, you're operating a business. If you are an employee in a business, you're operating a business. Work like someone's trying to put you out of business, because someone eventually will put you out of business. So you got to keep your stuff straight. See, we got a lot of stuff planned for you today, folks. You are listening to IBGR Network, and today we are talking about creating positive change, and you're listening to Talk Leadership with Cedrick and a Cuppa Joe on the radio. Everybody needs a little TLC with high energy. All right, so folks who are listening in to us on Facebook and on YouTube, we are on a commercial break right now, and we're going to be coming back here in another 2 minutes, and we're excited to be here with you today. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to put them in the chat, and we will chat it up with you.
Cedrick, I wanted to, going back to that point that you were talking about just now, a lot of the times as leaders, we miss like the people closest to the problem. They are the ones who have the solution to that problem, right? And we miss asking the right people the right questions to find that out. And so I love that point that you just made before we went into the commercial. So just want to point that out and mention that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's often missed.
Yes, it is. It's definitely often missed. So, all right. So then I guess you need to figure out what it is you guys going to eat for dinner tonight. You got to ask your mom, what are you guys going to cook? I'm just trying to understand what y'all having. For the last 2 nights I've had salad. I don't think I'm having a salad tonight though. I'm tired of bird food, and actually I start my fast again. And for folks that are listening in on YouTube and Facebook, if you want to fast, go to CED''S Daniel Fast group and ask to become a part of the group. And we've been fasting. We did it for the first 21 days in January, and now we're off of it, and we're going to start again in February 1st to February 21st. We're going to be fasting again, and all we're doing is staying away from any red meats, any sugars, any white materials, meaning white flour, white rice, any of that type stuff, and we're going to eat plant-based things. And you can have some protein, like you want to have some fish or some chicken. You can have that, but no other meat. No sodas, no soft drinks, nothing with sugar in it.
Cedrick, how was it for you the first 15 days, for example? Were you okay?
I mean, yeah, I do this twice a year, every year. So it's I'm used to it. And I've been doing it for about, I don't know, about 5 or 6 years now, twice a year. Every year. We're going to be coming back from commercial break here in like 30 seconds. But yeah, so I'm fine with it.
So you do it twice a year. This year, you're just going to do it back to back?
Yeah, I may do it. I'm gonna try to do it in the first quarter, each month in the first quarter, and see if I want to continue doing it or not.
Okay, sounds like a plan. I'll hold you accountable for that.
Oh yeah, it's not a big deal. It's all right. We are back, and you're listening to Talk Leadership with Cedrick on the radio with a cup of Joe. And you know, everybody needs a little TLC. You're listening to IBGR Network, and IBGR is our call sign as a radio station. But folks, we are more than a radio station. We are a network, and we're excited to be here with you today. And if you haven't downloaded the show notes, go to IBGR.network and download the show notes. Better yet, go to the App Store and download the app at IBGR, or go to the Play Store and type in IBGR and get the app as well. And you will be able to take us anywhere you go. Walking down the street, flying on a plane, driving in your car, riding on your bike, riding on a motorcycle. If you're on a scooter, you can listen to us too. IBGR to go. Let's go, Joanna. Let's keep rolling down here. We're talking about creating positive change, and we're in what's called a plan ahead strategy. We gave the P, which is predetermine the change that is needed. Joanna is about to go to the L's.
Yes, and the L for the acrostic is lay out your steps. You see, you need to discuss it, and you need to lay out each step of the process. You know what those steps are. You know, if you walk close to the people through this change, you will be the leader. If you walk too far ahead of the people, then you will become their martyr. And the good news is, if you die a martyr's death, then you will become a special to the people. But the bad news is that you're dead, right? So
all right, you died a martyr's death, but you're gone.
That's right. So you have to do the leadership dance. And, you know, the leadership dance is basically you walk ahead so they can see where you are, so they can see where they have to go. And then, but you stay close to them so they can see you. Then you have to walk beside them so they can participate with you in the journey, so they can listen and interact with you, right? And you have to also walk behind them so they can view the people, so you can view the people that you empower. So the leadership dance is doing all three things at the same time. You know, walk ahead as an example, walk beside as a friend, and walk behind as the leader that empowers the people. I love that. I love that dance, and I never thought of that, but it's a great way to put that out there. Walk ahead as an example, walk beside as a friend, and walk behind as a leader that empowers the people.
Right. You like the salsa, right, Joanna?
That was like a salsa.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. It's called the leadership salsa.
Salsa dance, yes.
So the A in plan ahead is adjust your priorities so you can accomplish your plan. See, what priorities do you need in order to change the organization? Critical changes make the greatest impact. Again, I'm saying that critical changes make the greatest impact. Change things that matter, right? Now let me tell you something right quick. John had kind of mentioned this earlier, leader versus manager. Let me talk about that right quick. See, a manager is a person who took plan A and won't get off of it. They love plan A, but you don't want to change from that plan A. A leader, on the other hand, starts with plan A because he knows he must have a plan. But at any moment, he is ready to change to plan B because he has found a better way. Fall in love with the goal, not the plan. Fall in love with the goal, not the plan. Let me give you the sports example, just because, in case you don't believe me, right? The best coaches know how to make adjustments, right? So in the first half, if you go back to that Atlanta Falcons game and the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl a few years ago, Atlanta was up 28-3 at halftime. Well, Bill Belichick and the Patriots went in at halftime and they made some adjustments. And they came back and won the game. You see, it didn't matter that they were down 28-3. Plan A worked for Atlanta, but plan A for in the first half, but plan A for the Patriots didn't work in the first half. So they went to plan B. And plan B helped them reach the goal. That's it, Joanna. Let's take them on to N.
I love it. Well, the N is notify key people. You see, the change and the pushback can be very deep when you're in this process, right? And so there are two types of key people that you need to notify. You have your influencers and you have your implementers. Now, the influencers are these are the ones that they better say yes, right? Because if not, this won't happen without their yes. The implementers, these are the ones that will make the dream come true. People dig in because they start thinking, they usually start thinking, Cedrick, about all the work they have put in the years in the past. Now this is not good enough. And so that's the worry. And as a leader, you need to remind them that yesterday's success is not good enough for tomorrow's aspiration. Let me say that again, because like Cedric says, you need to make sure you write this down. Yesterday's success is not good enough for tomorrow's aspiration. You see, it is not going to be easy, but remind them that it is important for them to succeed and also for the success of the company. So shame on the leader, who lets their key people to be notified at the same time as everyone else. You need to let your influencers and your implementers know in advance, because these are the people that will help you make the change happen.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So now we're through the word plan, PLAN, right? Now we're going to go to the word ahead, and we're going to start with the A. Allow time for acceptance, meaning give key leaders time for acceptance. It's with anything. People need time to accept it and know that change is happening and we just have to move forward. So acceptance has three phases, right? One is it will not work. That's going to be the first thing that people are going to go through. This is not going to work. You've heard that before, right? Then the next thing is it's going to cost too much. Right. So now they're trying to come up with excuses and alibis as to what's going to happen. And then the third one is, I thought it was a good idea all along. You see, now it's working. They're like, oh, I'm on board. But I knew this. Joanne, I told you a long time ago this was going to happen.
Yes.
Right. Now, so let me share with you a couple of funny things right quick. So here's some things I saw just in traveling around the world. A laundromat in France. Here was a sign that was hanging up. It says, drop your trousers here for the very best results. Right. A hotel in Korea said, this hotel is renowned for its peace and solitude. In fact, people from around the world flock here for its solitude. I don't want to go to that hotel. Right. They had a sign up that said, it is forbidden to steal hotel towels. Please, if you're not a person to do such a thing, then please don't read this note. All right. That doesn't make sense. Okay. All right. The next one is, visitors are expected to complain in the office between the hours of 9 and 11 daily. So they have a set time for you to complain.
If you had a problem outside of the schedule, keep it to yourself.
Exactly. The last one is a laundromat in Japan read, ladies, leave your clothes here and spend the afternoon having a good time.
Oh my goodness. Interesting.
People just don't realize what they put up, right?
Absolutely.
So how do people get, how to give people time for this acceptance that I was talking about, right? The first thing is you got to slow down. The second thing is you got to make communication clear and simple. And number three is you got to build in time for people to process the idea. So let me talk about slow down a little bit. People make negative assumptions about leadership or make negative assumptions about change. So this is why you got to slow down a little bit and give them a little time. Your communication has to be clear and concise, right? Keep key questions to ask yourself to ensure you have clear communication. Do I understand what I'm going to say? Will they understand what I'm going to say? Will they be able to tell others what I'm going to say? And will others understand what they say? You see? And then the last one is, build in time for people to process ideas. So the question is, how could your meetings give you greater influence if you use this format for running your meetings? I think that when you ask yourself that, you can find that it would be a great thing for you. So let's go ahead on to H.
Absolutely. So the H is, number 6, and that is head into action. Just don't talk about it and don't stay there. Head into action and take massive action. The E, Cedric, is expect problems. You see, motion causes friction. And we need leaders who will support what you do. So even if it's going to be the wrong thing, right? Torch carriers, think the worst first. What could possibly go wrong? Speak the worst first. Tell them, here are the problems that we will encounter possibly, and here are what we can do to fix them, the possible solutions. See, when you speak up first about the possible problems, then they will know that you have thought of that, and you have, it's not just you saying things, you have thought through this. And so answer the first. Remember the leaders, and you said this before, Cedric, right? On the law of the navigation, leaders see more and before. And so that's what we want you to grasp, that you have to put not to be negative, but to put the worst case scenario and to have a plan A and a plan B and a plan C, right? To make those halftime adjustments that you talked about earlier.
Right. So we're going to be going to break here in just a second. And one of the things I want to say when we look at the H is head in action, you got to begin, you got to act, and then you got to let go. And you got to have this vision statement, and you got to discuss it and understand that vision divides people sometimes. We're going to be going to break, and you're listening to IBGR Network, and you're listening to Talk Leadership with Cedric and a Cuppa Joe on the radio, and we'll be right back after this commercial break. Thank you. All right. So for folks who are listening on Facebook and YouTube, we are on a commercial break, and we're in our final commercial break before the end of the show today. And we're excited that you're here with us. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to put them in the chat. In the comment section, and we will we'll get those posted or addressed for you. I'm always excited to be here with you today. And Joanna was just telling people what it is she's going to cook up for dinner tonight. And
here's Miss Eliana. She wants to come say hello to you. Come say hello to Cedric.
Well, hello, Miss Eliana. How are you doing?
Come say hello.
I see you over there. You can't hide from me.
Come say hello.
I see you. Miss Eliana is going to be on the radio one of these days.
Oh, I'm sure she is. She's a great storyteller. So.
Oh, yeah, there you go. And she'll be big enough to be on the radio and be on our own show one of these days. And it's going to be Talk Leadership with Eliana and a Cuppa Joe.
That's right. So what are you going to have for dinner tonight, Cedric? Because you've been really wanting to know what I'm going to do, but you haven't shared what you're going to do. You say you're not going to do salad. So
no, yeah, I don't know what I'm having tonight. I'll know probably in a couple of hours what we're having. But I'm definitely not eating a salad again tonight. I can tell you that. Had enough of bird food for this week. So let me see here. We have a couple more minutes. We will be back from a commercial break in about another minute, and we'll be back live on the radio. So In the meantime, we are just hoping that you stay tuned with us and in tune with us. If you have any comments, you have suggestions about show topics or ideas, feel free to reach out and do that. If you're listening on the IBGR Facebook page, feel free to let us know what you think of the show. If you have a show topic that you think we should talk about, something that interests you, then feel free to let us know that as well.
Absolutely. Cedrick, when are we going to have calls in the show?
Yeah, I got to have time to work through that process, and I haven't had time to do it yet. So we got 10 seconds and we'll 5 seconds and we'll be back on the radio. All right, we are back and you're listening to Talk Leadership with Cedrick and a Cup of Joe on the radio. You know, everybody needs a little TLC with high energy. And you're listening to IBGR Network, and IBGR is our call sign as a radio station, folks, but we are more than a radio station. We are a network, and we are here for you, for your business, to help your business grow and go to a whole nother level. So we are in the process of completing this acrostic, and it's Plan Ahead. And so we have gone through PLAN, and then we have also touched on AHE. Now we're going to finish out with A and D in the plan ahead. So D is daily review your progress. See, leaders work to keep change, a change message alive with their leaders. They talk about the change clearly. They talk about the change creatively. They look for different ways to say it. They talk about the change continually. You have to keep it in front of your people, folks. When you don't talk about change for your people, here's what happens. They talk about it and they put in their spin on it. And it may not be what the official word is, but when people have lack of information, what do? They fill in the gaps. So leaders, you must be willing to clearly, continuously, and creatively talk about the change. So the question you have to ask yourself is, how can I find time to review daily? See, leaders should transition from a planner to an options leader, from a planning type leader to an options type leader. You must be able to look at options in midstream, right? To plan in the beginning was the gospel. However, along the journey, options become the gospel, and you have to be able to adjust. Now, let's go ahead and finish this out, Joanna.
Absolutely. And I love that, Cedrick. And, you know, the law of the buy-in says that people buy into the leader before they buy into the vision. And so if they buy into you, then you can turn it around, right? So let's go back to the lesson at the beginning where when I spoke about Coach Lou Holtz, right? He turned around all 6 programs within 2 years. And think of the 4th and the 5th school, right? They were thinking, how is he turning around this as a leader, right? He will help us turn around. And as a leader, that gives you the moral authority. And that gives you also momentum before you even start. And so you become a turnaround artist, a U-turn leader. And that right there, that's where you want to be. You want to be on that space where you have not only the authority as the leader, but you have that moral authority. And you become a turnaround artist, a U-turn leader. And hey, that's what we want for you. That's what we want for your business. And hopefully you got some really good insights from this conversation today and everything that all the points that we've laid out today.
Right. Let me clarify something. So, you know, Lou Holtz is one of those guys that he's always, known as this turnaround guy, right? Because he took 6 different college programs and turned them around in 2 years. I mean, that's amazing. Every time he went to a program, within 2 years, he turned a program from being a losing program to a winning program, right? That's what that U-turn leader means. And think about this. On his 4th and 5th school, they were thinking, wow, this guy's going to turn us around as well, right? He's going to make a difference, going to make an impact. right? It became easier because people bought into it because they saw he had the history to turn things around, right? And this is what leaders should be in their business. You turn leaders, be able to turn your business from a failing business to a profitable business. Turn your business from a mediocre business to a higher performing business. Go from good to great, right? Go from best to better. You understand what I'm saying? See, that's what a U-turn leader does, right? Now, the challenge in this plan ahead model is what I want you to do is, and you have the show notes for this. What I want you to think about is which letter are you the strongest in? PLAN, AHEAD. Go look at those letters on your show notes and figure out which ones are you strong in. For me, I'm strong in P, weak is in E, and cause problems in H, right? But that's what you need to do for yourself, right? So to improve is to change. This is what Winston Churchill said. To improve is to change. So to be perfect is to have changed often. You get that? To improve is to change. So to be perfect is to have changed often. That means you've had a lot of change. Now, I like Warren Buffett, and Warren Buffett is the ultimate business leader in terms of business performance and success. And here's what he said are the ABCs of large business death. All right. Now you need to get this, and you need to make sure this is not you. It says Walmart and Barnes and Noble got arrogant in their brick and mortar dominance. Then came Amazon. You see, A was arrogant. B is people got bureaucratic and avoided change in the DVD rental market. Then Netflix came along. You see, you remember Blockbuster, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you too young for Blockbuster?
No, I remember.
Okay, all right. I'm just checking, but people got bureaucratic and avoided change in the DVD rental market. And then came along Netflix and changed everything, right? The C is complacent. People got complacent in the automobile industry. And what did it do? They got destroyed. In fact, they almost just fell apart, and the U.S. government had to bail them out. You see, arrogance, bureaucratic, and complacent. The ABCs of the death of large businesses. Don't let that be. That could be the ABCs of death of small business as well. Don't let that be your business. That's really what our point is today. Plan ahead, folks. See, monitor change, prepare for change, change quickly, adapt, and then enjoy change. Let me say that again. Monitor change, prepare for the change, change quickly, adapt, and then enjoy the change that you made. Now that right there, that right there, it just takes me to the bank, right? That's some good stuff. What are you finna say?
I love it. No, I think it's a great framework, and like you say, it's the ABCs for the big business, how they fail. But we entrepreneurs and as business owners, we have to think about all these things, right? And that right there, that's the formula of failure. Those three things that Warren Buffett shared.
Yes,
thank you for sharing that. That was great.
Yeah, well, I try to share great things. Every now and then, I try to share great things. I'm not as good as Joanna, but I'm good.
Stop.
So I love the plan ahead strategy. I love the thing about creating positive change in your business. And folks, what I want you to understand is this. In every organization, change can be hard. In every organization, you're going to have people who embrace change. You're going to have some who resist change, and then you're going to have those in the middle who are like on the fence of change. But it's the leader's responsibility to make sure that change happens and that positive change happens. It's the leader's responsibility to cast vision. It's the leader's responsibility to clearly articulate what the plan is and continually articulate what the plan is. It's not anyone else's responsibility. It solely falls on the leader. Now, I'm going to go back to what I said at the very beginning. The question that you need to ask yourself, just in case you didn't get it, and I'm sorry, not the question you need to ask yourself, the question you need to ask of other people. And I always say, start with the leadership team in your organization, have them rate you, and then have their employees rate them. The first, and it's on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being lowest, 5 being highest. Am I who I say I am? Number 2 is, do I do what I say I'm going to do? Number 3, would you be the same at work if your child worked with you every day? And number 4, would you treat people at home the same way if someone from work came to dinner one night? See?
That's great. And, and I think it's really important to highlight also, Cedrick, when you do this exercise, like be willing to accept the feedback, right? And have a teachable spirit. We talked about that yesterday in another lesson, right? Having a teachable spirit is so important, because it doesn't matter all the feedback you get and all these things and all this exercise, but when you're not willing to really take that in and make a positive change in your behavior and in your life and how you lead others, then you know what? It's not worth even trying it, right? Because you have to be willing to implement it and to do something with it, with the results.
Sure, absolutely. And I want to leave you with this, folks. So the final word is credibility. Right? Credibility creates authority, and that comes from everything we talked about today, and that includes influence, priorities, and integrity. If your people buy into you, then they will want. Excuse me. If your people buy into you, then they will want to. They will want to go where you want them to go. They will trust you. They will walk the path that you want. They will be ready for that change. They will align with your vision. And even if it requires change, they will align with it. They will get lockstep and in motion with it, folks. And I want to tell you today, folks, before we leave here, we have 30 seconds left. And I want you to know you're listening to IBGR Radio and you're listening to IBGR Network. And folks, it's been awesome being on the radio with you and helping you align your business and build your business. And Bill and Donna have a great mission here. And I want you to stay tuned to the next show coming up. And the next show is coming up is Bill Eastman is going to be coming up. So stay tuned to that. Thank you, guys. And you have a great rest of your week. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, so we are done on the radio, folks. Folks on Facebook and YouTube, I want to thank you for tuning in. We always appreciate our audience for tuning in, and we look forward to being with you again on next Thursday, every Thursday at 2 p.m. Central Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. We will be here with Talk Leadership with Cedrick and a Cup of Joe on the radio, because everybody needs a little TLC with high energy. I'm Cedrick LaFleur with my co-host, Miss Joe.
Ana Rincon.
She is never ready for it, folks. And I know every time I'm going to do it.
Joe, and then I was supposed to say Ana. Let me say my name.
Yeah. You say Joe when you say Ana Rincon.
Oh, my God.
She has issues, folks. So I'm going to get her some medicine. Thank you, guys, and have a good rest of your day.
Bye. Thank you.